If you are a Christian, there will be times when you do everything right. You go to church, you serve others, you read the Bible, and you pray. Yet, even with all of this, your heart still feels empty, and you don't really understand what prayer means in your life. If you've ever felt this way, you are not alone. Every believer goes through moments when faith feels strong and full of fire, but also through seasons when emotions fade and prayer feels repetitive or powerless. Maybe you've even sat in a church surrounded by people worshiping with passion, and you quietly asked yourself, "Am I doing something wrong? Why don't I feel God the way they do?" If you've ever thought that, then this message is for you. It's not a magic formula, but it's an honest word meant to encourage you and remind you why prayer is so important. Why should we pray? Why do we pray? And what happens if we stop praying? To answer this, let's look at Jesus himself. He could do amazing things. He preached with power, healed the sick, and even raised the dead. But there was one thing he never neglected: prayer. No matter how busy or tired he was, Jesus always made time to be alone with the Father. Sometimes he woke up early, while it was still dark, and went to a quiet place to pray. Other times, after a long day filled with people and miracles, instead of resting, he chose to pray. He sought strength, comfort, and guidance from his Father in every situation. If even Jesus, the Son of God, needed to pray every day, how much more do we need prayer in our own lives? Prayer should not be something we turn to only when life gets chaotic or when our hearts feel dry. Prayer is not just another thing on a spiritual checklist. It is our lifeline. It is the breath of our soul. Without prayer, we cannot stay close to God. From this foundation, we can begin to see three real benefits that prayer brings into our lives when we practice it daily and consistently. Benefit 1. Prayer helps you overcome temptation. Have you ever wondered why you keep falling back into the same habits or sins, even after you promised yourself you wouldn't do it again? Maybe you said, "This time I'm done with this," but after a small moment of weakness, you fall back into the same pattern. Then comes the guilt, the frustration, and the feeling of failure. The truth is, temptation comes to everyone. No one is free from it. Our flesh is weak, and we all have areas where we are vulnerable. But Jesus gave us the answer. Watch and pray so that you will not fall into temptation. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. Matthew 26:41. Think of your spiritual life like training for a sport. You cannot build physical strength by going to the gym once in a while. You have to train regularly with discipline until your muscles grow stronger. Prayer works the same way. You cannot overcome temptation if you only pray occasionally or only when life feels hard. True strength comes from building a consistent prayer life, praying every day, even when you are tired, even when you don't feel like it. Each time you come back to God in prayer, even after failing, you are rebuilding your foundation. Slowly but surely, you are strengthening your spirit. One day, you will notice that the temptations that once controlled you no longer have the same power. Prayer transforms weakness into strength, not overnight, but step by step. Benefit 2. Prayer opens doors of blessing. There may be times in your life when you feel stuck. You have done everything you know is right, but nothing seems to move forward. The doors you want to open remain closed, and you wonder if God even hears you. Many people have felt that way. Some even start to believe that prayer is useless. But the Bible gives us this promise. If you believe, you will receive whatever you ask for in prayer. Matthew 21:22. Think of Daniel. He prayed for 21 days, but nothing happened at first. Still, he did not give up. He kept praying, and at the right time, God's answer arrived. Sometimes God does not answer right away, but every prayer you pray is building something. It's like planting seeds in the ground. You may not see anything for a while, but underneath the soil, something is happening. Many people give up too quickly. They pray a few times, see no change, and stop. But blessings often come to those who keep going, who keep seeking God with persistence. Just as Daniel did, we must keep believing even when nothing seems to happen. If you stay faithful in prayer, the time will come when doors open, doors that you could never open by yourself. God has a perfect timing, and He promises that your perseverance will not be wasted. Benefit 3. Prayer opens our ears to hear God's voice. Have you ever been at a crossroads not knowing what decision to make? Maybe you prayed, but all you heard was silence. You began to wonder if you were spiritual enough or if God even speaks to you at all. You are not alone in this. Many faithful people in the Bible went through the same thing. Paul, for example, received God's guidance in the most difficult situations, not because he was special, but because he kept a consistent prayer life. Praying every morning is like opening your spiritual ears. At first, you may not hear much, but as you build the habit of talking to God daily, you will begin to notice His gentle voice in your heart. You will feel His peace guiding your steps. You will sense His nudges when making decisions. God's voice is not always loud or dramatic. Often, it is a quiet whisper that you can only recognize when you've made space in your life for prayer. If you want to know God's will, don't just pray once and expect an instant answer. Dedicate time daily, even in the quiet mornings when nothing seems to happen. Over time, you will learn to recognize His voice above all the noise in your life. Making prayer a priority. The truth is, life is busy. Every day comes with new responsibilities: work, family, school, chores. With so many things to do, prayer can easily fall to the bottom of a list. But here is the reality: nothing is more important than prayer. Nothing should take its place. Without prayer, we drift. With prayer, we stay rooted in God. Don't wait until you find time to pray, because that time will never come. Something else will always feel more urgent. Instead, schedule prayer. Make it a part of your daily routine, something non-negotiable. Treat it as the most important appointment of your day. Prayer is not just discipline. It is love for your soul. It is the way you keep your relationship with God alive. We've only talked about 3 benefits of prayer: overcoming temptation, opening doors of blessing, and learning to hear God's voice. But there are so many more treasures waiting for those who pray daily. Peace, joy, strength, and spiritual growth all flow from a life of prayer. If you've ever experienced a change in your life through prayer, maybe a miracle or simply a deep peace, share your story in the comments. Your testimony can encourage someone who feels dry in their faith today. If you found this message helpful, please support our community. Don't forget to subscribe to Heaven Whisper, like this video, and share it with someone who needs encouragement. Together, we grow in faith. Together, we remind each other that no one walks this journey alone. May God bless you, and thank you for spending this time with us here on Heaven Whisper.